So you want to get paid to fly helicopters and you want to make it a full-time job. In this video, we're going to break down all the steps on how to become a professional helicopter pilot.
It's like autopilot, dude.
How do you fly a helicopter? Well, I'm going to show you. We're going to break this video down into 6 parts. Preparation, private pilot's license, commercial pilot's license, huge decision number 1, huge decision number 2, and time building. So you've made the decision you want to become a professional helicopter pilot. Obviously, the first thing you have to do is get prepared and put certain things into order. Now, absolutely the number 1 thing that you should do before you go on this journey is go get your FAA medical. I've got a video that I'll link to up here about how to get your FAA medical, but you basically go online to medexpress.com, I think, or medexpress.org. You fill out this application and then you go see an AME's aviation medical examiner. The second thing that has to be done to prepare is you have to go and get your finances in order. To become a professional helicopter pilot, it's going to take many different ratings, and it's on average going to cost anywhere from between $80,000 to probably $110,000, $120,000. And I know it's a lot, but if this is what you've decided you want to do, that's just part of the process. And I'll also link to a video here I made about how you can finance flight school, whether you're going to do loans, federal loans, private loans, whether you're going to save the money, whether you can just cash flow it yourself. And if you're going to cash flow it, at least have probably $65,000 to $70,000, which should get you through at least to your commercial if you use it wisely. The third thing you have to do in preparation is you need to choose a flight school. Now, I'll link to a video right here I made about how to choose flight schools, but you should really spend some time and do some research, figure out the programs they offer, where's their location, how many helicopters they have, their maintenance record, if they've had any accidents. All the general information you want is in that video, and you need to find a good flight school. Now, the vast majority of helicopter pilots I know had to move to the location where the school is to get their flight training. The flight school that you want to go to is probably not in your immediate area. So now that you've gone through all the prep work and you are enrolled in school, the first step to becoming a professional helicopter pilot is getting your private pilot's license. Getting your private pilot's license, it's the biggest step, it's the hardest step. This is where you go from knowing nothing about helicopters or maybe a little bit to actually learning about helicopters, flying helicopters, getting yourself in the dirt, in the weeds, and really learning how to be a pilot. Now, to be an FAA certified helicopter pilot, you have to have 40 hours of flight time. I've never heard of anyone actually doing it in 40 hours. If that's you, that's cool, but that's probably not going to happen. I would recommend that you plan on it taking from 50 to probably 70 hours of flight time to get your private pilot's license for the time you're ready for your check ride. After you get your private pilot, there's a couple things you can do. You can move directly into working on your commercial rating now, or you could go get your instrument rating. We'll talk about the instrument rating in a little bit. That's really important, but most people get their private pilot and then immediately move on to working on their commercial. The commercial rating was my absolute favorite. It's really fun because now you already know how to fly, you know how to do the maneuvers, but this is the time where you're just building a ton of flight experience. You're flying all the time, you're getting really good at the maneuvers, you're really understanding how the helicopter works in depth, you're making it part of your body, you and the machine are coming together. The ground knowledge for commercial pilot is really not that bad. You learned a vast majority of what you need to know in private pilot. As you're studying for your commercial pilot, obviously you have to learn all of the regulations about how to legally work as a commercial pilot, all the laws surrounding it, and the specifics about being paid to be a pilot. And like I said, I really enjoyed the time period as I was going through my commercial pilot training. It's really just a great time of learning how to fly, becoming really good, getting even better at all the knowledge. It's an enjoyable experience if you make it that. After you get your commercial pilot rating, you have to go on and make huge decision number 1, which is determining if you're going to get your IFR rating. For anyone that doesn't know, IFR stands for Instrument Flight Rules, and this is a flight regime where you are flying strictly based off the instruments in the helicopter, in the most prominent situation when you're flying in clouds or low visibility. Now, it's important to note that most helicopter operations are conducted under VFR, Visual Flight Rules, but the reason I bring this up is for a lot of helicopter pilot jobs and to be a professional helicopter pilot, they require you to have your Instrument Flight Rules rating. So if you want to go into EMS, Emergency Medical Service, as an air ambulance pilot, you have to have your IFR rating. If you want to go into offshore oil rig flying, you're going to have your IFR rating. If you want to go into corporate or VIP charters, you're going to have your IFR rating. And not only for the specific jobs that require you to have your IFR rating, but the rating itself is hugely important. All the skills you learn during your IFR training make you a significantly safer pilot. Not only do you learn about the IFR world, which is really cool, it's a whole different system of flying. It's really interesting. It's really exciting. I've got a cool video about IFR flying in helicopters here, but it makes you a significantly safer pilot because you have to fly the entire machine just based off the instruments, not being able to see outside. And God forbid forbid you ever get yourself into a situation where you fly yourself into a cloud or really low visibility, or you're flying at night and you don't have a good horizon, you can fly the helicopter based off the instruments and feel fairly comfortable. And it's really important to consider the type of job you want to do, because there's a couple different jobs where you definitely don't need your IFR rating. Like I said, I still promote it. I think it's great to have. It makes you a safer pilot. But there's a couple jobs where you really don't need it, are crop dusting. If you just want to go spray crops, you don't need an IFR rating. If you want to get into utility, you probably don't need an IFR rating. And if you want to get into tours, like you just strictly want to fly tours, you probably don't need an IFR rating. So if you have decided that it's a good idea for you and the type of career you want, then after your commercial pilot, you will probably go on and work on your instrument rating. Now, huge decision number 2 that you have to make is if you're going to get your CFI, Certified Flight Instructor rating. So it's really important to talk about the CFI rating for multiple different reasons, but the main one is when you finish your helicopter commercial pilot and maybe your instrument rating, you're going to come out of school with anywhere from 150 to 200 flight hours, which is pretty good. You're technically now a rated commercial pilot and you can go get a job. But the thing is, most jobs will not pick you up at 150 to 200 hours. Even if you want to just go fly tours, it's not that common to get picked up that low. Most tour jobs even want you to have 500 hours. So how do you bridge the gap from being in flight school and graduating with 150 to 200 hours to get to 500, to get to 1,000, to get to 1,500, to get to 2,000? How do you bridge that experience? Now, by far the best way to do this is to get your CFI rating, to work as a certified flight instructor, and build time and experience that way. But I'll run through a couple of the reasons real quick. First off, like I said, it's really cool to just say that you're a certified flight instructor. It's an awesome rating to have. Secondly, and more importantly, the knowledge you learn by going through the certified flight instructor training program and learning how to be a CFI is hugely immense. When you get your commercial pilot's license, yes, you are technically rated as a commercial pilot, but you really don't know the same depth of knowledge that a CFI does. As a CFI, you have to know everything upside down, inside out. You have to know absolutely everything. And you get really good because you have to learn so much and then you have to explain it all back. Going through the CFI training program makes you a much better helicopter pilot. And third, another really extremely important point to consider, if you want to become a professional helicopter pilot, if you get your CFI rating, when you finish and you are a certified flight instructor, there are nearly guaranteed jobs waiting for you. The entire time I've been in the helicopter industry, people are always looking for flight instructors. Now, obviously the pay is not super high, but it is a paying job, probably $20, $25, $30 an hour, and you are getting paid to build flight time. You can go through and build quality flight time relatively quickly right out of school. So to summarize the process of becoming a professional helicopter pilot, you need to get yourself prepared, get all of your ducks in a row before you go to school. Then you need to go through and get your private pilot's license. Then you have to go get your commercial pilot's license. Then you have to make 2 big decisions. If you want to get your instrument rating and if you want to get your CFI rating, I strongly believe that you should get both of them, and it makes you just a really qualified helicopter pilot to have both of those. The 6th and final thing you have to do is now time build. Whether you went the CFI route and you're now working as a certified flight instructor, or you just graduated with your commercial pilot and maybe you got picked up at a job, now you just need to build time. As a CFI, you can fly anywhere from like 500 to 1,000 hours a year, so you can build that flight time up to the minimums of 1,500 and 2,000 relatively quick. Or if you get picked up right after your commercial pilot, you can still build flight time relatively quickly, really depending on what you're doing. The timeline it takes from being not a helicopter pilot to being a professional helicopter pilot is anywhere from about 3 to 4 years. You know, you're in school for about 1 year, maybe a year and a half if you go to it full time. Obviously, if you're not doing it full time, it could take longer. But then you're going to be time building for about 2 or 3 years, and about 3.5 to 4 years after you started the process, you're going to have about 1,500 to 2,000 hours, and you are now qualified for most of the professional pilot jobs. And professional helicopter pilot jobs right now are paying anywhere from like $90,000 to $120,000. And once you get to about 2,000 hours and more, you can pretty much have any job you want. There are certain qualifications that you need for different specific jobs, like firefighting or certain EMS jobs with like a single pilot IFR type of operation. There might be a couple different requirements that you have to go and get, but by the time you get to 2,000 hours, you really have been qualified for most jobs. You can enjoy the rest of your career. You can choose from an abundance of jobs. You're going to be making good money, and so that's how you become a professional helicopter pilot. If you have any questions on this, let me know down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. If you disagree with this, let me know down in the comments below if that's not how you would do it. And if you are a professional helicopter pilot or you want to be, tell me how you think you're going to do it, which ratings you would do, how you would time build. I want to hear it down in the comments below. If you found yourself enjoying this video, smash the like button. Subscribe for all kinds of helicopter content coming out every Friday, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.